On Wednesday, October 14th, nearly 100 UA students, alumni, and faculty gathered to voice disapproval over recent changes at a protest during the Board of Trustees meeting in the student union. The protest was planned to criticize the elimination of the baseball team, the defunding of the UA Press and E.J. Thomas Hall, staff eliminations, and recent discussions of rebranding. It was organized by social media groups such as Graduates Over Greed, Olive Jar, and Save the University of Akron from Scott Scarborough, with assistance from the Ohio Student Association.
So we as students have been organizing around the protest for the past month or so with a couple other organizations, the mostly online groups such as Graduates Over Greed, Olive Jar, and Save the University of Akron from Scott Scarborough. And we've been having a presence online a lot, obviously, trying to get students involved where they're at, and then more so recently giving out flyers for the protests. We've had meetings over the last month to get students involved in organizing the protest. Our goal since creating the protest has always been, our number one goal is that we would like to ask President Scarborough to either step down from his position or for the Board of Trustees to release him from his position as president of the University of Akron.
Before the board meeting began, Tom Garino, as well as faculty members, students, retirees, and alumni, spoke in front of the crowd of protesters and voiced their concerns.
Good morning. We're all busy, but it's important that we show and have a voice, show that our voice matters, because up to now, we haven't had much of a voice in the way the decisions have been made here leading up right into today. That's why we're here again.
On this issue of rebranding, on Ohio Polytechnic, it's clear he is not listening to the faculty. The faculty voted 3-1 against this. It's clear from the book delight, the students do not like this. It is abundantly clear that the alumni don't like this. So if he's not speaking for the faculty, and he's not speaking for the alumni, and he's not speaking for the students, then who is he speaking for? Because it sure as heck isn't the University of Akron.
And I'm here today because I want to stand up for the institution that I belong to and will belong to for my entire life. And I have to also say that to see especially the students here today, it really lifts my spirits, and it makes me believe that this is our institution. This does not belong to the current administration, who seems to behave as though it does. So congratulations to everyone who is here to stand up for who we are, who we always have been, and who we will continue to be.
We are here because we wanted to let you know that the retirees are also very disturbed, dismayed, whatever adjectives you want to add there, about all of the changes that are taking place currently at the university. Changes that we believe will have a negative effect both on the quality of the education that the university provides for its students, and also upon that town and gown relationship that we have worked so hard over so many years to establish.
I just wanted to point that out, that we want communication with this administration, or we don't want this administration, if that's the way it is. If we're not going to have a direct voice as students, and I believe I speak on behalf of the faculty that are here, and alumni that are here, and retired faculty and people in the community, that this institution is too important to this community, to Akron as a whole as well, to allow that lack of trust to be there, that lack of communication to be there. I feel very...
It makes me sad that most of our student body has a mentality of pass-through culture. I'm only going to be here for 4 years. How does it affect me? Does it really affect me? It does. I'm tired of trying to get into classes that aren't being offered because our faculty has been cut. I'm tired. I'm tired of saying, I might graduate in my 4-year plan, being no fault of my own. I'm tired of being offered promises, face to face from the president that things are not changing, and then them changing a month later. So if you're with me, I'll see you at the next protest.
After a 3-hour-long executive session, the meeting opened to the public at 11:10 a.m. Students Love Gwaltney and Tom Garino asked questions during the meeting. Both were escorted out by UAPD officers and their questions were not acknowledged.
I have one. Aside from the president's mansion, what other major financial decisions has the board approved that have not been line item detailed going back to the previous administration? I would like it. We have a right to know. We have a right.
On behalf of the Finance and Administration Committee, I recommend approval of the personnel.
There's no respect for the students. You're privatizing our university. Privatizing our university.
Looking at behind closed doors, and now you're going to discuss them
Chairman
and talk
Pavlov
about
is
them
abstaining.
and pretend like they're new.
Vice Chair Blicker will conduct the vote.
Vote no, OPU.
Approval of the personnel actions is recommended by Dr. Scarborough and amended.
When the meeting concluded, several students stood firing questions and comments at Scarborough and board members. No questions were answered.
Why do you think it's acceptable to fire 200 plus faculty and staff and then hire your own administrators from the University of Toledo for higher pay?
Why do you think it's okay to remove the multicultural center?
Why do you think it's okay to get rid of cover your center? Thank you.
Why are we paying you $450,000 a year base salary when you're not even going to talk to us?
If we're customers, aren't we always right?
Your customers. This is a corporation, correct?
Why are we paying you to not care?
Why did I pay for house renovations?
Many protesters felt that their questions should have been answered during the meeting. The two students that were removed from the meeting described their beliefs on this matter.
I feel as soon as they
unfair advantage on part of the Board of Trustees. I understand that they can't just open it up to questions because it could possibly lead to disruption. But to just address the students, to acknowledge us that we were there, that we care about our institution would be nice, or to have an open public forum to where we can actually ask questions as opposed to the townhouse meeting that we had with Scarborough, where you had to text in and have your items pre-screened. Nope. So
It's probably got like 7
it's unjust, it's unfair, and I feel like our voices aren't being heard.
Yeah, I asked a question and then I was asked to leave the meeting. I was escorted out of the meeting for interrupting the meeting, which, you know, I knew would happen. But again, students who were escorted to leave or asked to sit down after their questions, we knew that the ramifications of that was a possibility. So we were willing to take that risk just to get our voices, our questions across, to be heard, the ones that we weren't able to ask at the town hall meeting, the real questions as opposed to the softball questions that were given to President Scarborough at that town hall meeting. It is what it is. I mean, you go in there, they don't recognize the press, they don't recognize the guests that are there, they don't recognize, the faculty or students that attend these meetings. So I've been at others, and so I expected that, that there's, but at the same, and their format is that the guests, quote, aren't there to ask questions during the meeting. This isn't a real meeting anyway. There's a meeting before the meeting, the closed door meeting, the executive meeting, and then the meeting even before that one where just the top generals meet. So, this is just a show right here.
In a comment made during the meeting, Ted Curtis, Vice President of Capital Planning, referred to students as customers. Tom Garino discusses his thoughts on this statement.
I think he embarrassed himself by saying that. To call us customers dehumanizes the people that keep this past and present students, alumni as well as current students. He insulted them by referring to that. I don't know what a man in his position, why he would refer to that. Maybe behind closed doors, I think he should think about maybe make those comments, but in public, I think it kind of speaks for itself.
Students Kelsey Watson and Feather Weldon discussed what they thought of the protest.
So we think that the protest went pretty well. There were a lot more students than I expected, so I was glad to see that. A lot of people turned out and actually stayed, came and went, especially for students that have classes, which I think is really good and says a lot about our commitment to what we're doing. I think as far as the board meeting, we kind of expected it to be how it ended up being, but I kind of at least thought that they would address some of the questions that we asked, but they basically looked the other way and acted like we weren't there. So that was obviously upsetting, but we can't really expect a whole lot more from them. They're afraid to talk to students.
We asked them polite, direct questions. We were not profane, we were not explicit, we were not rude. We stood up and we were simply asking them the questions that everyone wants to know. Why does he want to change our name? Why do you fire so many people and hire new people with higher salaries? Things like that. I felt that the protest was really, really positive. I think we've shaken up something on campus. Lots of people have heard and been disrupted, and that's what we're here to do, make people aware of what's happening. So I think it was good.
Get out of their comfort zones and stand
So
up.
much.
I feel shy talking to people, so I feel like I can help.
Are we good?
If you're afraid of what everyone's going to think or what people are going to say, you should swallow that fear and stand up, because as I said before, nothing ever changed by people sitting idly by assuming that things were never going to change. You got to stand up if you want something to change. You don't even have to put yourself out there if you want to. Wear a mask if you need to, but write some letters. Talk to the Ohio Board of Trustees. Talk to everyone. Just get your stuff out there.
I feel like